Hi guys, and welcome back to 97 Projects. I'm Amy, and today we're going to be making bottle cap coasters. First of all, I'm going to apologise for the lack of videos. I was planning on starting to upload every 2 weeks, but a little bit of this got in the way.
Either way.
Yeah.
And if it's loose,
And a little bit of this.
Happy birthday to you!
But mostly it was this. Anyway, let's get on with the project. A family member made this gorgeous garden bar, complete with bottle cap counter, and they wanted some coasters to go with it. They did all the hard work and saved up the bottle caps, and I made them 10 coasters, and this is how I did it. The first thing to do was to check how many caps I could fit in this mould without tearing or scratching the mould. I knew I wanted like an even distribution of each of the different bottle caps inside the coasters. I didn't want one coaster that had 3 Budweisers in or 3 J2O ones in. So I started to line them out into 10 rows of each of the different kinds, or 11 here because apparently I can't count to 10 anymore. And if those Brit ones on the right are triggering anybody, yes, we did swap them out for J2O ones. I've been listening through all of the Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings books on Audible recently, so if you're after a free trial of Audible, I'll leave a link in the description. The next thing I needed to do was to figure out how much resin I needed for the coasters. I knew I wanted to cover at least a mil either side of the bottle caps, and the 80-gram coaster measurements that I use for my Etsy shop were perfect. And past Amy here has shown you that I'm mixing up a little bit extra for a couple of other orders that are outstanding. I've recently realised that weighing your resin isn't the most accurate way of figuring out what you need, especially since the resin that I use is by volume, but I'll talk about that in another video. I only had 6 moulds at the time, so I ended up doing a batch of 6 and then a batch of 4. I started both batches with a really thin layer of resin on the bottom. I knew I wanted a millimetre of resin either side of the bottle caps, and I figured the bottle caps would float. So I decided to do one thin layer of 1 millimetre of resin, put the bottle caps on top, and then do a second layer on top. But I would do that second layer once the resin had cured for about 6 hours, just so the bottle caps would be stuck to the first layer and wouldn't float to the surface. I wanted all the coasters to look the same, so I took them off the foam board in groups of the same colour, and then placed them into the mould in the same order. 6 hours later, I came back and mixed up the rest of the resin and poured it into the moulds. There's a couple of reasons why the bottle caps are face down and not face up. The first one is the shiny side of the mould is on the bottom, and it hides all the nastiness on the back when I have to sand that all down. The second reason is air bubbles. You can imagine placing a cap down on resin, you'd expect there to be some air trapped underneath. 24 hours later and the coasters were fully cured, and the cure on them was really clear. I was really happy with not seeing many bubbles at all in them. There were a few air pockets on the top of the coasters, and I just filled this in with a little bit of UV resin for quickness, just because I had to take these to my mum's house that night to sand down. I know it took me over an hour and a half to sand these down because we were watching Love Island while I was doing them, and we were teaching my mum about the recoupling ceremony after Casa Amor. There's not much I would have done differently with these, apart from maybe keep an eye on the caps from floating out in different directions. You can see on a couple of them where the middle cap has floated really far out to one side. The side profile looks great too, they almost look like they're floating on water. I think it could have been really easy to go overboard with the resin and make these super thick, but I really like how thin they are. It's so satisfying that they're all in the same pattern as well, so you can do this with them. Not actually use them as coasters, but just line them all up and stack them on top of each other. And then it was just a case of repeating the same process for the remaining 4 coasters. Let me know in the comments if you plan on making some of these for yourself, or if you've already made some. I couldn't resist, sorry. You can almost tell how clear the resin's going to be here from how easily it pours into the moulds. After I sanded and polished all the coasters, I ended up adding on some little sticky feet just so they didn't slide everywhere. If you fancy having a go at these yourself, I'll leave all the tools in the description. But maybe get a couple of people around to help you with the collection of the bottle tops. There's people listening now going, challenge accepted. As you saw at the start of the video, I am currently decorating my hallway, so if you want to see that video, make sure you let me know in the comments, so then I'll sit down and edit it for you. Also, I'm currently learning how to dry my own flowers, and I've got a couple of bouquets today that I'm drying in some silica gel, so we've got some really big projects coming up, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to join us on all the other different social medias. We're now on TikTok as well, so give us a follow on there and I'll start uploading some things. See you next time.
Projects, and I've got a really exciting video for you today. This is the first 97 Projects vlog. Yay! Yay! Cue applause. Yay! Now, if you must know, audience, it is my birthday today, so we're doing birthday stuff.
Is that what I sound like?
Huh?
Is that what I sound like?
That's what I sound like when it's my YouTube voice.
Have I got a YouTube voice then?
Everybody has a YouTube voice. You have to.
Mufasa.
¿Qué pasa?
¿Qué pasa?
What?